Alright, quick update on Bitcoin. So I see a lot of people panicking today. And really in the past 8 hours, I've seen a lot of people, there's a lot of people messaging me. I see a lot of people on Twitter freaking out, especially in the altcoin market. I mean, Bitcoin is down, 1% or so today, but there are a lot of altcoins that are taking a slight plunge while Bitcoin is in this correctory phase. So I wanted to categorically go through the long-term, mid-term, and short-term reasons why I'm currently not bearish on Bitcoin. So it's going to be a slightly different type of video. I haven't made one of these before. But yeah, let's jump right into it and let's start off with the higher time frames. And I will tell you why I'm not bearish on Bitcoin. So if we bring up a clean chart, if we come over to the monthly, then we'll do the weekly, then the daily. If we look at the monthly, you can see, I mean, Bitcoin is just in a very, very clear uptrend. And sometimes people forget how high the market cap of Bitcoin is. It takes a very long time to get moving. It's like the grandpa of crypto at this point. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way. I mean that in the way that, if you're holding an altcoin, then Bitcoin's your daddy. When Bitcoin moves up, your altcoins move up. That's how it is. So we need to put some respect on Bitcoin's name. If we look at this in the macro term, you can see, I mean, these touch points down here with these lows on these wicks, they're getting higher and higher with every wick. You could also argue we're putting in a really, really ugly W pattern. It's really not a perfect W pattern at all. It is by no means perfect whatsoever. In fact, you could also argue that this could be a head and shoulders pattern, which is, I'd probably argue a more valid interpretation of this these past couple of bumps that we've got going on right now. But from what I can see in the macro perspective, Bitcoin is always king. Over the months, people may freak out on day-to-day, week-to-week price action, but when it comes to the monthly close, we are normally putting in higher highs month over month. And if we're not doing it month over month, I'm sure if we looked at this in the 6 monthly candles and take out the noise of some of these dumps, we would be exponentially increasing to the upside. That is why I'm bullish on Bitcoin on the monthly. If we come over to the weekly, very similar picture. We've got these higher lows that we're building right now. And very interestingly, on the weekly time frame, we're seeing a huge momentum shift on the squeeze bomb. You can see we turn light red, we turn from light green to dark green and then to light red, and that means the bears are taking control of the momentum swing. And what we're seeing right now is we're seeing these dark red candles come in, meaning the bulls are taking over the next momentum swing. So in the next couple of months or so, we'll do something like this and the bulls will come back in control until, I'm just drawing this out of thin air, but somewhere approximately like Q4, the beginning of Q4 this year. So what happened the last time we put in a weekly momentum shift? Well, we were on the 26th of July. We were on this weekly candle and this bullish momentum carried us up 96%. What happened the last time before that? You can see we were down here in 2019. We put in a weekly opening at approximately the 16th and we were on this wick right here. So we had a rally from, we didn't have a momentum shift in terms of the bears. We kept on going up until the 12th of April, which was the exact top on here. You can see, so we've had 2 momentum shifts so far on the weekly that I'm willing to talk about in this video, because I don't want to make this, an hour long going through every momentum shift. But the last momentum shift we had, an 820% rally. The momentum shift we had, the most recent one rather, this was the second to last one, we had a 96% pump. If we're following with this general data, then we should be seeing a huge pump coming in the next months or so. Bear in mind we're on the weekly time frame. This is a macro indicator. That is why I'm bullish on the monthly and the weekly time frame. If we come over to the daily, while we are having a rejection temporarily from these EMA ribbons and they have fired bearish, unfortunately, you can see in the lower time frames we're seeing one of these momentum shifts. And the last time we had a momentum shift, we were down here on the 28th of April. This was this big wick that we put in from the high of this momentum shift, we topped out on the 31st of March. So we actually didn't get the exact top. We topped out here. We had a 26% local rally, and we're putting that in now. We're losing bearish momentum. So we're about to head up in the short term, in my opinion. And when we're looking at these daily momentum shifts, what we're really looking at is we're predicting that the next couple of weeks, at least the next week to 2 to 3 weeks, is going to be bullish before the bears do take back control and we see a bearish landslide back to the downside, which will probably just be a higher low before we do continue increasing on the daily time frame. That is why I'm bullish on the daily. We're looking very, very nice, and if we come over to my original chart on the daily, you can see we've recently just pumped above the 0.5 Fibonacci, which is incredible. This is the region that we really needed to get above for the longest time. So in my opinion, that is why I'm bullish on Bitcoin on the daily. Bears are losing momentum on all time frames from what I can see. Let's come down to the 4-hourly time frame. On the 4-hour, we're currently back testing your 4-hourly EMA ribbons. That is the reason why I'm bullish on the 4-hourly time frame. Until we take out these EMA ribbons, then there's nothing for me to worry about, in my opinion. I can see since the most recent mark up to mark down in this local Fibonacci region, we've had an impulse up, we've come back down, perfectly back tested the 786 / perfectly back testing our 4-hourly EMA ribbons, and we've pushed up since then. So until we have a breakdown of approximately 41 to 40,800, then in my opinion, I have to remain bullish on the 4-hourly timeframes. And bear in mind, you know, if the 4-hourly turns bearish, we could have a move back down to 40,000, but that does not mean that in the higher timeframes like the weekly, that I would even consider changing my opinion in the slightest. Now, that's why I'm bullish on the 4-hourly timeframes. Let's come over to the hourly timeframes. On the hourly timeframes, it is a slightly different image that we're seeing right now. We are looking a tiny bit bearish on the hourly timeframe, but the hourly time frame out of all of the time frames that I am going to cover is the least important, and the only reason why I am bearish is because we have had a recent momentum shift in the favor of the bears, and we're also struggling to get back above / in these EMA ribbons. I would like to see a break above the 618 Fibonacci in the local term, meaning a push above 41,200 before I get bullish on the hourly time frame. So that is why I am genuinely bullish on Bitcoin in the hourly time frame, which, you know, only is going to constitute what really happens in the next 12 to 24 hours. It could be a slightly bearish, like we could have a pullback to these lows. Like that is not, I'm not saying that I'm bullish on the hourly time frame. We could have a pullback to 40,500 and back test this previous low before we do have an impulse. But when we come over to the 4-hourly time frame, when we come over to the daily time frame, and most importantly, when we zoom out, which is the most important thing to do when you are holding Bitcoin, in my opinion. I think a lot of people get into Bitcoin thinking they're going to get rich quick, and they don't realize that you're picking the cryptocurrency with the highest market cap valuation. It is going to take its time. It is going to move up slowly. You are going to 2x your returns, in my opinion, but you're not going to do it in a month. You're not going to do it in the next 2 months. You're not going to do it in the next 3 months. Sure, you could see a 3x potential, or 2x rather, happening this year. But if we look at these impulses that we have on the weekly candles, when we have our bottoms and when we run up and have these uptrends, they take their time. The last time we had a swing trade, it was 16 bars on the weekly, meaning 112 days worth of rallying. The last time we had this 8x, it was 57 bars on the weekly, which is over a year, 399 days worth of rallying. Bitcoin is going to take its time. If you're buying Bitcoin to get rich, you're in the wrong crypto. Or let me correct that. If you're buying Bitcoin to get rich quick, you're in the wrong crypto. If you're buying Bitcoin to get rich over the macro term, if you invest a decent amount of Bitcoin or money, I imagine if you hold anywhere above 2.5 to 0.5 Bitcoin, you will be very, very wealthy in the long term. If you're holding 0.1 or less Bitcoin, then you're going to get more money, but I won't argue that you would ever be rich off 0.1 Bitcoin. I think 0.25 is going to be worth, you know, $1 million in the future. That's just my opinion. I think Bitcoin's going to millions because I think the US dollar is going to zero over the long term. And if you're pricing the USD against Bitcoin, then, you know, hyper Bitcoinization is already happening because Bitcoin is up 99.9 recurring against the US dollar, and the US dollar is down almost 99.9999999% since Bitcoin has come into Croatia, since Bitcoin has come into creation, or if you're a fan of the theory that Bitcoin was founded. I like both of them, but nonetheless, that is why I'm bullish on Bitcoin. That's why I'm bullish on the weekly, the monthly, the daily, and the 4 hourly. In the lower time frames, we could have a slight pullback, but the higher time frames are telling me we are very bullish for the next move back to the upside. Finishing off the video with the cherry on top, why I'm bullish on Bitcoin is why I'm bullish on the total crypto market cap. You can see we've recently just had an impulse back above your 618 Fibonacci at 1.84 trillion. As far as I can tell, we've broken above this and we're currently coming back to back test it. While we're not breaking back below it, I remain bullish on the total crypto market cap, and ergo I remain bullish on Bitcoin. That is all I've got for you today for Bitcoin. That's all I've got for the total crypto market cap, and why I am bullish on Bitcoin in all of those time frames. That is all I've got for you today. If you liked this different video, let me know below, let me know in the comment section, leave a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you like the content. That's all I've got for you today. Cowboy out, not financial advice. And yeah, peace.